The United States might have just dealt a fatal blow to the Swiss economy. A new, crippling 39% tariff on Swiss gold is sending shockwaves through the financial world, and the very heart of Switzerland's legendary gold industry is now under threat. What does this mean for Switzerland, the global economy, and for you? The story is more shocking than you think, revealing a tangled web of trade politics and a crisis that's pushing a nation to the edge. The shot heard around the world. It all started when the United States made a shocking decision to slap a massive tariff on Swiss gold bars. With what feels like the stroke of a pen, these bars, the lifeblood of global finance, were suddenly hit with an almost unbelievable 39% import duty. This wasn't some random number. It was a direct result of the US administration's laser focus on bilateral trade deficits. By including Switzerland's huge gold exports in their trade math, something that just wasn't done historically, the US painted a picture of a completely one-sided trade relationship. Suddenly, Switzerland, a small, neutral nation, was hit with the highest country-specific tariff among all developed nations. And this wasn't just a blanket tax, it was a targeted strike. The tariff specifically hits the 1 kilo and 100-ounce gold bars used to settle futures contracts on the COMEX exchange in New York. This move attacks the very machinery that keeps the global gold market running smoothly. Traders and refiners, who have operated for decades on the belief that investment-grade gold was safe from this kind of political game, were left completely stunned. The market's foundational trust was shattered overnight. Gold mayhem and market meltdown. The reaction wasn't just fast, it was violent. The second the news broke, gold futures in New York exploded, rocketing to record highs. But this wasn't a normal price rally. A terrifying split started to appear. The price for gold in New York completely detached from the spot price in London, the world's other major trading hub. That gap, the spread, blew out to over $100 per ounce. For anyone who follows precious metals, a spread of a few dollars is a big deal. A $100 spread is a full-blown market meltdown. It signals that the physical supply chain is broken. This spread means the market is in a pure panic, driven by the fear that the gold promised in New York futures contracts simply can't be delivered from Switzerland. In response, Switzerland's iconic gold refineries, giants that together process over 2,000 tons of gold a year, did the only thing they could. They immediately halted all shipments to the United States. They couldn't risk sending millions in gold across the Atlantic only to get hit with a 39% tax that would wipe out their already thin profit margins. Leaders in the Swiss precious metals industry have warned that these tariffs threaten the entire international flow of physical gold. It isn't just about profit, it's about Switzerland's very role as the world's indispensable gold refiner. They've warned this move could permanently damage the central position Switzerland has held in the global bullion trade for over a century. A nation under economic siege. This crisis is a dagger aimed at the heart of the Swiss economy. While the tariff is currently targeting gold, its impact is already threatening to ripple outwards. Why? Because the gold refining industry is a cornerstone of Swiss prosperity and prestige. An attack on this industry is an attack on the Swiss-made brand itself. Economists are already warning that if these tariffs stick, they could shave a significant percentage off Switzerland's GDP within the next year alone. For a stable, developed economy, that's a massive blow. The Swiss Business Federation has warned that thousands of high-paying jobs are now at immediate risk, not just in the gold sector, which employs around 1,500 people, but across the wider manufacturing and logistics industries that support it. This isn't just an industry in danger, it's the entire Swiss model of prosperity. This situation is changing by the hour. We're seeing market moves and political statements that were unthinkable just days ago. If you want to stay on top of this unfolding economic crisis and understand what it means for global finance and your own investments, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We'll be tracking every development right here. A diplomatic catastrophe. Facing a genuine economic threat, the Swiss government scrambled. In a move that shows just how serious this is, Swiss President Karin Keller-Sutter led an emergency diplomatic mission to Washington herself. The hope was that direct talks and an appeal to a long-standing partnership could stop the disaster. That hope was completely misplaced. The delegation was met with a brick wall. Despite arguing that gold is a monetary metal, not a regular product, and that including it in trade figures was misleading, the US administration refused to back down. President Keller Sutter couldn't even get a meeting with key US trade officials and returned to Bern empty-handed. The tariffs took effect exactly as planned. This diplomatic failure has sent a wave of shock across Switzerland. For a country that built its identity on neutrality, stability, and reliability, being targeted so aggressively by its most powerful ally feels like a betrayal. The mood in Zurich and Geneva is grim. Leaders are wrestling with the reality that the old rules of trade don't seem to apply anymore. They're living the nightmare of being caught in a trade war they never wanted, the future of gold and a world of uncertainty. So what happens now? This crisis has exposed a deep weakness in the global gold market. For decades, the world has counted on a smooth flow of gold between London and New York, with Swiss refineries as the critical link. That system is now broken. These tariffs are a direct threat to New York's dominance in the gold futures market. If the COMEX can't guarantee physical delivery of gold without a massive tax, why would traders trust its contracts? We could be watching the beginning of a great reshuffling of the gold world. Will trading volume now shift to London, or maybe to growing hubs in Asia like Shanghai or Singapore? This could lead to a fragmented global market with different gold prices in different regions, ending the era of a single global price. For Switzerland, the road ahead is dangerous. Its leaders are no doubt looking at every option, from appeals to the World Trade Organization to retaliation, though its power against an economy the size of the US is limited. What's clear is that the country can no longer take its relationship with the United States for granted. It has to urgently find new trade partners and rethink its entire economic strategy. The big question is, can the Swiss gold industry and the wider Swiss economy survive this? A 39% US tariff has thrown Switzerland's most important industry into chaos, sparked mayhem in the markets, and pushed a century-old diplomatic relationship to the breaking point. The immediate effects are clear. Shipments have stopped, prices are volatile, and there's a direct threat to Switzerland's GDP and thousands of jobs. But the long-term fallout could be even bigger, potentially redrawing the map of the global gold trade and forcing Switzerland to reinvent its economic model. The future is uncertain, but one thing is for sure. The world of gold, and Switzerland's place in it, will never be the same again. What do you think Switzerland should do next? Can the Swiss economy handle this storm? Could Switzerland diversify routes and partners? Maybe New York's dominance fades. Maybe this shock forces a new gold order. Whatever the path, we'll be here to track every turn, because when the world rewrites the rules, it writes them in real time. If you learned something new, like subscribe and ring that bell. Drop your take in the comments. Should Switzerland play hardball, lawyer up at the WTO, or pivot east? This is Nations in Minutes, exploring the world one country at a time. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.